Okay, good morning, my dear friends. I'm glad to see you again, and I invite you to my next online lesson. But before telling you the theme of our lesson, I'd like you to guess yourself and find the lexical theme of the lesson. Look at these pictures and try to guess the lexical theme of the lesson. What is the lexical theme of the lesson? Have you guessed? Good of you. The lexical theme of the lesson is news and views. We are going to talk about news. And of course, we'll have some grammatical material. Try to guess the grammatical theme of the lesson. Look at these pictures. You see the Christmas carol with 3 words: week, week, and week. Santa will deliver the presents next week. And you see dear and dear. An aunt writing a letter, and the dear reading this letter. And the grammatical thing of the lesson is good of you, homophones. What else are we going to talk about? Look at the chart. Look at the picture on the right. What are they? I'm glad that you guessed the topic. We are going to talk about linking words. Now the theme of our lesson is news and views, homophones and linking words. And as you know, I'm a teacher of English at Nazarbayev Intellectual School in Semey, and my name is Kунебаев Nurulbek Ismadulayevich. You are welcome. Today at the lesson, you will extend your news vocabulary. Learn how to differentiate the meaning of homophones. And of course, you'll learn how to use linking words in sentences. Are you ready? Good. Let's go. The first is quiz. What is news and where to find it? Please test your knowledge about what news is and the places you can find it. You have a multiple choice test. Journalist's role. Which of these best describes the job of a journalist? The first, the second, or maybe the third? Which of these best describes the job of a journalist? Have you made your choice? Is it 1? Is it 2? Or is it 3? Let's check if you are right or wrong. And the right answer is number 1. It means that someone who finds and reports newsworthy stories. A journalist is someone who finds newsworthy stories, creates reports and shares them with the public. Journalists do lots of different things to bring you the news, from taking pictures to doing interviews. But their core job is finding interesting, important, and surprising stories that the public should hear about. Have you made the right choice or the wrong choice? Please put a tick if your answer is correct and put a cross if you are wrong. The next question. Sources. Contacts are Which number will you choose? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Let's check. Contacts are people journalists talk to when they are researching stories. Your family, friends, neighbors, and teachers can all be great sources for stories. A tick if your answer is right. A cross if you are wrong. Okay, the next one. What are wires? A nickname for camera operators, another name for headlines or reports from journalists all over the world that news organizations pay to assess. What is your choice? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Make your choice right now. Good. Let's check. And the right answer is number 3. Wires are reports from journalists all over the world that news organizations pay to assess. Wire services operated by media organizations such as Associated Press and the Press Association can be a really useful source for reporters. Journalists try to find 2 sources when reporting a story to increase their chances of getting the most accurate information. Don't forget about ticks or a cross. Next one. What is news? Which of these headlines is not news? Pay attention to the question. It says, which of these headlines is not news? US President to visit UK. Pupil drops pen during lesson. Usain Bolt breaks 100-meter record. Make a choice and let's check. Number 2 is not news. Pupil drops pen during lesson is unlikely to be a news story. Different news programs will often cover different stories, but giving your audience something they need or want to know is the starting point for choosing the right stories. Would people be interested in a pupil who dropped a pen in class? Put a tick or a cross. What have you got? A tick? Good of you. A cross? That's a pity. You need some improvement. Try to do your best next time. And we are going to the next question. The head teacher of a local primary school tells you that she is upset about a proposal to close her school. What headline would you choose for this story? Please, choose the best headline. Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Okay, let's check. The best headline is number 2. Head teacher upset over school closure plan. When she spoke to you, the head teacher didn't say the school was definitely closing, and she didn't attack the council. Journalists must always tell the truth and report what people say accurately. A tick or a cross? I hope that all of you got a tick. Let's go to the next one. News platforms. Which of these is not a news platform? TV, radio, or a desk? And I'm sure that all of you have chosen number 1? No. Number 2? No. Number 3. A desk is not a news platform. There are lots of places you can access the news, but a desk doesn't really count. The BBC uses lots of different platforms to get news to the public, including TV, radio, websites, mobile phone apps, iPlayers, the Red Button service, and social media sites. Don't forget about your ticks and crosses. Let's go. Now, count your score. If you get from 0 to 2, Keep working at it. 3, 4, good, but could be better. 5, 6, well done. What's your score? 5, 6, good of you. Let's go on. What's news? Watch a video, what is news? And try to give your own answer to the given question. Ready?
Hello, I'm Hugh Edwards and I present the news on BBC One and on the BBC News channel. Working in news is exciting. It's very challenging. Every day we have to make sure that we hit our deadlines and get our stories absolutely right every time. And now it's your chance to do the same thing and to make your own news. Now, news reports can be made in many different ways, but however you decide to produce yours, the most important thing is that you know how to put them onto your school website. That way we can link to them from the school report website so that people all over the UK, all over the world actually, can see your work. So here we are in one of the BBC's news studios. This is where we make the television news. When we broadcast the news, there's a team of people in what we call the gallery, and they all work together to make sure the programme runs smoothly. But there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes before we can get to this stage. And this is where you really need to start. So the first question is, what is news? Might sound obvious, but it's something that is new, something that is current. And it must mean something to people. It's the things that people want to know about or things that people need to know about. People might want to know the latest entertainment or sports news. But you could argue that they need to know about what's going on in health or education or disasters around the world and conflicts. On BBC News, there is a mix of different sorts of stories depending on the particular audience. Keeping these things in mind, there are possible news stories everywhere you look. Almost everything in your day-to-day life that interests you or your friends could be a good news story. And good journalists keep their eyes and ears open everywhere they go. Be curious. You never know, you might uncover a truly original piece of journalism. Now, your reports can be about things going on in your school or near where you live. That's local news. Or about things going on in the UK, national news, or even globally, international news. Before they get ready to report on anything, BBC News teams hold regular meetings to decide what they think is news for that day and how to report it accurately. And you can do the same. So good luck.
Okay, now try to give your own answer to the question, what is news? Please discuss it with your neighbor if you are lack of ideas. What is news for you, personally for you? Okay? Now these are key points which help you to define and to give your own understanding of what is news. You may use these key points in your answer. Okay. Now, watch another video which is called Finding News and write down the key points like at the previous slide. Ready?
Hello, I'm in a BBC studio. This is what you normally see during television news. But behind the scenes, journalists are busy working out what should be in the news and where to find it. And that's what you need to do too. Journalists find their news stories from many different places, and we call them sources. Remember, there are things happening around you all the time which might make a good story. You have to be curious, look around you, listen, talk to people, find out what's going on. What surprises you? What shocks you? What interests you? And how do you know if it's true? Now, one important source of stories, believe it or not, is other journalists. BBC journalists always read the papers, they check news websites, they listen to or watch the news. Another place our stories come from is directly from our audience, talking to us, telling us about things going on in their lives. Lots of people get in touch with the BBC by text, and email, by blogging, by using social media like Twitter or Facebook. And what people tell us can become an important part of a story, or indeed a story in its own right. You might get tip-offs from your friends or family, or even from teachers. And what about asking for your friends or fellow students' opinions on the issues in your stories? Just like we do. You can then include them in your report. Press releases are another good source. Organisations contact the BBC about events that are coming up or things they've done, and they also put them on their websites. So keep a lookout for those. And journalists talk to experts on a whole range of subjects and pick up stories from them. They might be politicians, it might be football managers, or scientists, or doctors, or store managers, hairdressers, musicians, head teachers, and the list goes on. All of these people are what we call contacts. And finally, we get some of our best news stories from witnesses, people who are on the spot when something happens. They can tell us about it. Now be careful, it's very important to check all your sources. Only use sources that you trust. Are they likely to have accurate information on the story? How much checking you do is really the key to getting it right. Of course, it depends on the type of source. It's usually a good idea to check the information with at least 2 sources. Truth and accuracy are 2 of the BBC's news values. They're a very important guide and will help you to become not just a reporter, but a trusted school reporter. So, good luck finding the news stories, and above all, have a bit of fun.
Now you have 1-2 minutes to write down the key points according to the video. If you don't remember something, it's okay. Just write what you remember. Try to write at least 2-3 lines. Okay, let's check. These are the key points on the video Finding News. Behind the scenes, journalists spend a lot of time working out what stories to cover and where to find the stories. Stories come from all kinds of sources, but check your sources and only use them if you trust them. Truth and accuracy are 2 of the BBC's most important news values and are vital if you want to be trusted. Do you have the same key points? Good. Now it's high time for reading. But before reading, let's write some phrases which will you meet in the text. Spiritual enlightenment struck a chord with many celebrities. It means a lot of famous people were attacked to the possibility of gaining a deep understanding of religious beliefs and teachings. Write it in your copybooks. Next one. Soon tired of his message. It means that quickly became bored with his teachings. Next one. Vast. The meaning of this word is large, very big. Transmitted courses on meditation. It means broadcast lessons on how to think about only one thing in a religious way so that you become calm and relaxed. Next one, brightened, meaning made more interesting and colorful. Yogic flying candidates. It means people who wanted to be elected as politicians, who said that by meditating they could fly. By meditating they could fly. And the last one, closely allied to, had strong ties with, had a close relationship with. Guru, a religious teacher or leader. And I am sure that you know this word. Contradictions of his lifestyle. As you see, it means the way he lived with his life, with his large house, etc., seemed to be the opposite of what he taught, encouraging people to follow a simple religious life. Okay, now you are going to read the text, and after reading the text you will answer a question and make a choice if the given sentence is true or false. And this is the text, and you have 3-4 minutes to read it. Okay, now let's do after reading tasks. Are the following sentences true or false? Put a tick if the sentence is true, and put a cross if the sentence is false. The first sentence, some very famous people were interested in the Maharishi's teachings. Is it true or false? Tick or cross? And you are right. You got a tick because paragraph 1 says the Maharishi's promises of better health and spiritual enlightenment struck a chord with many celebrities. The next one. All 4 Beatles became lifelong followers of the Maharishi. If this sentence correct, put a tick. If it is wrong, put a cross. And of course, you should put a cross, because paragraph 1 says, John, Paul and Ringo soon tired of his message, while George Harrison switched to the Hare Krishna movement. Next one. The Maharishi lived a very simple life in the Netherlands. And you have to put a cross, because paragraph 2 says his vast home in the Netherlands, his large home. Number 4. Members of the Natural Law Party who wanted to get elected in the 19th believed that meditating gave them special powers. And your answer is a tick or a cross? Good of you. You should put a tick, because paragraph 2 says European elections in the 90s were brightened by the yogic flying candidates of the Natural Law Party, closely allied to the Maharishi's beliefs. Number 5. It is believed that the Maharishi group is very rich. A tick or a cross? Good. Because paragraph 3 says his movement is said to be worth at least 2 billion pounds. Number 6. And the answer is across. Paragraph 3 says, any questions to the guru about the contradictions of his lifestyle brought a simple answer. Just be yourself. Okay. Now count your ticks. And if you got 1 or 2, keep working at it. 3, 4, good, but could be better. 5, 6 ticks, well done. My congratulations. Let's go on. Now we are going to talk about homophones. A homophone is a word which has exactly the same pronunciation as another word, but has a different spelling or meaning. Any questions? Okay. Choose the word in each group which does not sound the same. This one, the second one, or the third one? Good of you. You have to choose the word brick because the first 2 words are pronounced like break. Break, break, brick. Next one. The first, the second, or the third. Be very attentive. Good of you. Dear, dear, die. Next one. The first, the second, or the third. Good of you. Farther, farther, and further. You have to choose the last word. Next one. The first, the second, or the third. Good. Here, here, and higher. The first, the second, or the third. Okay, let's check. Whole, whole, and whole. The first one. Go on. The left, in the middle, on the right. Good of you. No, no, and now. On the left, in the middle, on the right. Make the right choice. You are absolutely right. Meet, meet, and met. Next one. Okay, let's check. Soon, sun, sun. On the left, in the middle, on the right. Good of you. Soil, soul, and soul. And the last one. Make a choice. Okay, let's check. Week, week, and week. Good of you. Homophones are often used in newspaper headlines to catch the reader's attention. What is the homophone for the underlined word in the following headlines? You have to find the homophone. Read the news lately. What is the homophone for the word read? Any guesses? Okay, let's see the right answer. Red and red. The first word is an adjective and the second word is a verb. So, the next answer, no way. What is the homophone for the word no? Try to guess. Any ideas? If you have no ideas, please discuss it with your neighbor. Maybe he or she has a good idea. Okay, let's check. Way and way. Next one. Who would have guessed? What is the homophone for the word guest? Okay, let's check. Guest and guest. Next one. Mail delayed. Any ideas? Good of you. Let's check. Mail and mail. And the last one, the whole story. Next answer is whole and whole. Good of you. Now let's talk about linking words. Linking words and phrases are used to show relationships between ideas. They can be used to join two or more sentences or clauses. A clause is a group of words which contains a subject and a verb. Linking words or phrases can be used to add ideas together, contrast them, or show the reason for something. Please choose the right linking word. Good of you. Next one. Let's see the right answer. Nevertheless. Next one. Also, yet or consequently. Which linking word fits the best? Okay. Consequently. Next one. Let's see if you are right or wrong. The linking word is yet. Yet we are not in a strong financial position. Make a choice. Also, yet or consequently. You see that the linking words are the same. And so your choice depends on the meaning of the sentences. Let's see if you are right or wrong. The right answer is also number one, letter A. Next one. The linking words are the same, but the sentences are different. So read very attentively the sentences. Next one. The right answer is consequently. And the right answer is also Have you made your choice? Okay, let's check. The right answer is yet. In the developing world, salaries are low. Blank. Goods cannot always be produced more cheaply. And the right answer is yet. Yet, goods cannot always be produced more cheaply. Next one. The right answer also. And your choice is A, B, or C. Let's check. The right answer is letter C. Okay, now match the phrases on the right with the phrases on the left. Okay, let's check. These are the right answers. Next one. Match the phrases on the right with the phrases on the left. And the right answers. Next one. And let's see the right answers. It's a lovely city. Nevertheless, accommodation is terribly expensive. Okay, now our lesson is coming to an end, and now you have extended your news vocabulary, learned how to differentiate the meaning of homophones, and learned how to use linking words in sentences. Please fill in this self-assessment sheet. Put a tick in the chat if you can use at least 5 new words on news. Got a tick? Good of you. Put a tick in the chat if you can differentiate between the homophones. Can you? Good. Put a tick. The next objective. Can you use at least 5 linking words and phrases in your own sentences? If you can, a tick. Good of you. So, you have got 3 ticks. You can use at least 5 new words on news. You can differentiate between the homophones, and you can use at least 5 linking words and phrases in your own sentences. Okay? Now please answer these questions. What have you understood? What haven't you understood? What have you learned? And how do you evaluate your skills? You have 3 minutes for it. Okay, now I'm going to give you homework. Find a really good news and be ready to tell about it to your classmates. And these are resources which we used during the preparation to this lesson. And all the materials of this online lesson you can find on www.moodle.nis.edu.kz. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time. Bye bye.